Champ now. Yes, I didn't say. What are you looking so sad about, Champ?
I'm surprised. I mean, I'm really insulted. That's not right, what you just said.
What do you mean, what I just said?
I mean, I'm getting a drink of water. I'm late getting home, but you talk. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talk about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, one time during my career, I was on a Bomber of the Month tour.
I would have been a bum compared to you.
What's happening, my people? It's Cat Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. That's right, you know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Box Story, bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it, can't get enough of it. Salute to Miss Cass. Without her, none of this would be possible. Salute to everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cass Sports, the Box Story. Today, a timeline through boxing history, part 2. Has the family today. It's Tuesday, still early in this big week of boxing history. We're going to finish up the timeline through boxing history today, starting at the end of the 70s on up through the current decade, 2026. Just looking at some fights, highlights of the fights, other significant events that occurred during these decades concerning boxing history. We're going to look at all the big fights, like Marvin Hagler when he won his first title in 1980 against Alan Minter. the Bite Fight, Floyd and Oscar's Big Fight, 2007, Floyd and Manny, Bud and Canelo. All that today on Cast Sports The Box Story, bringing you all that boxing history. Well, how's everybody this afternoon, Tuesday? We got a big week planned for you. We're going to do our, last week we did the fight of the century on Friday, but it was the first Friday. We were supposed to profile an active boxer. We're going to do that this week. It's going to be Anthony Joshua, AJ, life and career of Anthony Joshua, this Friday. Yep, we're going to do our active boxer this week. What we got as far as boxing this week, and we're in the March now, getting close to the Benavidez and Cerrito showdown we got coming up in May. So your boxing's been pretty good to us so far this year. Let's see what's happening this weekend. And then we're going to get into our fighters a day. Got to start with fighters a day. Fight from the past. We're going to look at this weekend first, see if anything big happening in this great sport of boxing. Okay, what is this weekend? March, what, the 14th? Yeah, we got Honor Barboza, Kenneth Sims back in there. Coming off of that loss to Duarte. Oscar Collazo on the card. Gabriela Fundora in action. Love to see her fight. Putting her undisputed flyweight titles on the line. Alexis Rocha and JoJo. That could be good. Joe Iriarte on the card. Good card coming up Saturday. Anthony Cocase out of Ireland fighting this weekend. So yeah, we're in good shape. Sunday, we got some fights from Japan coming up. So yeah, good card coming up this weekend. JoJo Diaz in action. That could be a pretty good fight. Forgot already who JoJo was fighting. Let me check again real quick before we get started with the fight of the day. Yeah, I know Gabriela Fundora is on it. That's the big name on the card to me. Yeah, JoJo's fighting Alexis Rocha. That could be good. 10 rounds. Okay, let's get ready to get into our fight of the day. Just wanted to look at what we got this weekend real quick. Okay, got a lot to get to today. So let's get started with the fight of the day. And we're going to finish up our walk through boxing history. So the fight of the day first. Okay, today's fight of the day is Joe Calzaghe versus Roy Jones Jr. November 8th, 2008. Battle of the Superpowers. Battle of the Superpowers. Okay, let's get into it. Calzaghe Jones. That was the last fight of Calzaghe's career. Joe Calzaghe versus Roy Jones Jr. was contested at Madison Square Garden in New York City, where undefeated welter champion Joe Calzaghe defeated American boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. by unanimous decision over 12 rounds to retain the ring light heavyweight title, marking Kazaki's final professional fight and his retirement with a perfect 46-0 record. Perfect 46-0 for Kazaki when he retired. Joe Kazaki, entering the fight at 36 years old with a 45-0 record, had recently moved up from super middleweight after a storied career that included dominant victories over champions like Jeff Lacey and Mikhail Kessler, establishing him as a high-volume puncher known for his relentless pressure and technical southpaw style. Roy Jones Jr., age 39, with a 52-4 record, was a 4-division world champion and former pound-for-pound king who had dominated the 1990s, but had shown signs of decline following losses to Antonio Tarver and Glenn Johnson in 2004, though he remained a formidable counterpuncher with exceptional speed and power. The matchup pitted Kazaki's unbeaten streak and European fan base against Jones's American superstar status, generating significant hype as a clash between two eras of boxing excellence, with both fighters weighing in at 175 pounds. The fight began dramatically when Jones floored Kazaki with a left hook in the first round, but Kazaki quickly recovered and shifted momentum with his jab-heavy volume, landing 344 total punches to Jones's 159, including 120 jabs. Jones suffered a cut above his left eye in the 7th round and fatigued under Kazaki's pressure, allowing the Welshman to dominate the later rounds with combinations and showboating. Though Jones showed resilience by landing power shots, refereed by Hubert Earl, the fight drew 14,152 attendees and 225,000 pay-per-view buys, with all three judges, Julie Letterman, Terry O'Connor, and Jerry Roth, scoring it 118-110 for Kazaki. This victory solidified Kazaki's legacy as one of Britain's greatest boxers, having conquered light heavyweight legends like Bernard Hopkins earlier that year. While for Jones, it highlighted his enduring skill despite the loss, bringing his record to 52-5. The event is remembered as a generational showdown that bridged Kazaki's prime with Jones's twilight, showcasing the sport's competitive depth. Joe Kazaki entered the fight with an undefeated pro record of 45-0, including 32 knockouts, having debuted in 1993 and established himself as one of boxing's most durable champions. He had held the WBO super middleweight title for over 10 years, since winning it on October 11, 1997 against Chris Eubank by unanimous decision, defending it a record 21 times before vacating it in September 2008 to focus on light heavyweight. In April 2008, Kazaki moved up to light heavyweight and captured the Ring magazine's light heavyweight title with a split decision victory over Bernard Hopkins on April 19th in Las Vegas, with scores of 116-111 and 115-112 for Kazaki and 114-113 for Hopkins, despite being knocked down in the first round. Roy Jones Jr. approached the matchup with a record of 52-4, including 38 knockouts, having turned pro in 1989 after a controversial Olympic experience and amassed world titles in 4 weight divisions, middleweight, super middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight. Following back-to-back knockout losses in 2004 to Antonio Tarver in the second round on May 22nd and to Glenn Johnson in the ninth round on September 25th, Jones staged a comeback, securing a unanimous decision over Felix Trinidad on January 19, 2008 at Madison Square Garden with scores of 117-109 and 116-110 twice, marking Trinidad's final pro fight. At the time of the fight on November 8, 2008, Kozaki was 36 years old, stood 6 feet tall with a 73-inch reach, and fought in a southpaw stance. Jones, aged 39, measured 5 feet 11 inches with a 74-inch reach and employed an orthodox stance. Kozaki ranked number 3 pound for pound overall, while Jones held the number 1 spot in the WBO light heavyweight division. The contest carried stakes including the ring light heavyweight title, okay, let's continue. Kozaki versus Jones. The fight began with Roy Jones Jr. showcasing his power punching style against Joe Kozaki's high volume approach. In round 1, Kozaki opened aggressively with jabs and combinations, pinning Jones against the ropes and targeting the body. But Jones countered effectively with a straight left to the nose, followed by a right hand slap that floored Kozaki midway through the round. Kozaki rose quickly at the count of 8, his nose bloodied, and fired back with wild punches to survive the round. No further knockdowns occurred after this moment in the fight. In round 2, Kozaki regained momentum, pressing forward with flurries that drove Jones to the ropes, though Jones absorbed the shots and landed a heavy right in response. Round 3 saw Kozaki dominate by cornering Jones and unloading head and body shots, with Jones offering limited counters, including an uppercut. By round 4, Kozaki took clear control through superior footwork and multi-punch combinations, outlanding Jones consistently as the American retreated defensively. Jones won the first round with his power shot, but Kozaki shifted the momentum from this point on. Mike Rim in the building. Salute Mike Rim. Fight of the day, Joe Kozaki versus Roy Jones Jr. from 2008. Okay, let's continue. Okay. Jones Kozaki, 2008. Round 5 continued Kozaki's command as he stalked Jones and landed flurries in the corners, shaking his opponent with body work while both traded to the belt. In round 6, Kozaki focused on Jones's ribs, but Jones landed a sharp uppercut that briefly staggered Kozaki, prompting a heated exchange in the corner. Round 7 marked a turning point when Kozaki delivered a crushing left hook that cut Jones above his left eye, impairing the veteran's vision as blood began to flow. Jones survived the round, but appeared compromised. BBO Sports TV in the building. Salute BBO. Yeah, BBO got Stitch Duran tonight. And Ishay Jones too, right, BBO? You still got Ishay tonight? Tonight at 8 p.m. on BBO Sports TV. BBO. Right now we got fighter of the day, Roy Jones Jr. and Rich Duran. Yeah, I was just thinking about that a little while ago, BBO, before I got started tonight's show. So let's continue. Yeah, Jones got cut, and now he seems a little bit compromised. Kozaki had already taken control of the fight at that point, though. From round 8 onward, Kozaki dominated with relentless volume, targeting the worsening cut and pounding Jones from all angles with jabs and body shots, while the referee called the doctor twice to check the injury. In rounds 9 and 10, the pace slowed slightly due to the cut inspection, but Kozaki maintained pressure, landing rib shots and combinations as Jones showed resilience despite being bloodied. Round 11 featured Jones missing desperate power attempts, with Kozaki goading him and exploiting the eye impairment. In the final round 12, both fighters touched gloves in respect before Jones grazed Kozaki with a right hand. Kozaki eased off slightly, and the fight ended with the two embracing at the bell. Overall, CompuBox statistics showed Kozaki landing 344 of 985 punches thrown for 35% accuracy, compared to Jones' 159 of 475, 33%. With Kozaki outlanding his opponent by an average of approximately 15 punches per round. The fight concluded with a unanimous decision victory for Joe Kozaki, as all three judges, Julie Letterman, Terry O'Connor, and Jerry Roth, scored at 118-109 widely in Kozaki's favor, reflecting 9 rounds to 3, and with no point deductions applied during the fight. Unofficial media scorecards overwhelmingly supported Kozaki, typically ranging from 118-109 to 117-110, including HBO unofficial scorer analyst Harold Letterman, 117-110 for Kozaki. In post-fight interviews, Kozaki praised Jones' resilience and style, stating, "I love the way Roy fights. I have a lot of respect for Roy Jones. He is a great fighter," while describing an early knockdown in round 1 as a test of his recovery that fueled his performance. Jones responded graciously, acknowledging Kozaki's dominance without dispute. The Madison Square Garden crowd honored both fighters with a standing ovation at the start of the final round, and following the verdict, showing widespread appreciation amid the one-sided outcome. There you have it, the fighters of the day. Joe Kozaki, Roy Jones Jr. Joe Kozaki by a wide, unanimous decision. Okay, part 2 of a timeline through boxing history today. We starting out at the end of the 70s, on into all the way up to 2026, where we currently are. Okay, stroll through boxing history today. Okay, excuse me for one moment, and we're gonna get started. Need some more light. Gotta work myself way through this maze this guy's got over here on her side, so I don't get hurt. You could get seriously injured when you go over the Miss Cass side of the room. Wow, man. I hope she ain't listening. Okay, let's get ready to get started with this. Yeah, BVO got Stitch Duran and Ishe Smith tonight. Yeah, Ishe, I remember Ishe. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're gonna start out at the we were at the end of the 70s when we ended yesterday. I don't know why I got the Eastern Assassin. I don't even think we to that yet, but that's where we're gonna be. That's Mr. the Eastern Assassin, Larry Holmes, legendary heavyweight fighter, very underrated. Okay, we're gonna start right here. June 9th, Larry Holmes. June 9th, 1978. Larry Holmes becomes the WBC's 4th world heavyweight champion in precisely 4 months. After Muhammad Ali, Leon Spinks, and Ken Norton by defeating Norton by a 15-round split decision. Yeah, we had 4 champions in 4 months. What happened was Ali was the first champion in that period. Then he lost his title to Leon Spinks. That made Leon the second. So Ken Norton was the mandatory challenger for Leon Spinks. And Leon elected to fight Ali. No brainer. He's going to make his biggest payday. Especially after beating Ali, that fight was going to have astronomical interest. So the WBC stripped Leon, gave their title to Ken Norton. So Ken became the 3rd one in that 4-month period. And then Ken's first defense was against Larry Holmes, which Larry Holmes won. So he became the 4th champion in 3 months, in that 3-month period. And remember, I told you yesterday, Ken Norton is the only heavyweight champion in history to never actually win a heavyweight championship fight. Only heavyweight champion in history to never actually win a heavyweight championship fight, because he was awarded the title by the WBC and then he lost his first defense. Never in another title fight. So never actually won a title fight, but he was champion. Okay? So now we go to September 15th, 1978. Muhammad Ali makes history, becoming the first boxer to be world heavyweight champion 3 times by beating Leon Spinks by a 15-round unanimous decision in the rematch. Yeah, they had the rematch later that same year. Ali won the rematch. October 28th, 1978. In an eagerly anticipated fight, Wilfredo Gomez delivers what many consider the greatest victory ever by a Puerto Rican boxer, knocking out Carlos Zarate in 5 rounds to retain the WBC World Super Bantamweight title. Yeah, and that was something. They had like crazy knockout ratios, both of them. They had like 50 fights between them, and only like 1 or 2 of them, it went the distance between both of them, right? No, I think, only 1 fight it went the distance between these 2 fighters, over like 50 fights between them. Zarate had 1 decision. Yeah, so they both had like 90-something knockout ratios, and it ended in a knockout. Wilfred won it in 5 rounds. February the 4th, 1979. The rematch between Alexis Arguello and Alfredo Escalera has exactly the same result as the first fight, when Arguello retains his WBC World Junior Lightweight title with a knockout in round 13. Both fighters were picked by the Ring among the 100 greatest fighters of all time in 1994. Yeah, 2 great 70s fighters, Alexis Arguello, Alfredo Escalera, 2 all-time Hall of Fame legends. Yeah. June 17th, 1979. In Ring Magazine's Fight of the Year, Lenny Little Red Lopez, retains his WBC World Featherweight title by knocking out Mike Ayala in round 15. Ayala later admitted to being high on drugs after the fight. Wow. Admitted he was high. But Danny Little Red Lopez probably would have still beaten him. November 30th, 1979. A preview of things to come as Sugar Ray Leonard wins his first of 5 world titles by knocking out Wilfred Benitez in round 15 for the WBC World Welterweight title. And Marvin Hagler draw in 15 rounds with undisputed world middleweight champion Vito Antuofermo. Yeah, many people believe Hagler won that fight. okay, including me. Okay, let's go to the 80s. Let's go to the 1980s now. Okay, we're gonna run through the decade of the 1980s. There we go. Yeah, everybody don't miss that show tonight, BBO Sports TV, the legendary Stitch Duran on there. Don't get no better than that. It should be like 400 or 500 people in that chat, man. They sleeping. They sleeping on BBO Sports TV. I ain't gonna sleep on it though. No way. I'm gonna be right there early in the front row. Okay, let's do a little preview of boxing in the 1980s first. Not the 70s, Cash, the 80s. Then we're going to get into it. But how's everybody this Tuesday afternoon? Spring is in the air out there. As soon as the clocks went forward, it warmed up. Beautiful. I was out there in short sleeves today. Had my hoodie though, but didn't need it. Okay. All right, let's get into it. Boxing in the 1980s. There's, who is that? Larry Holmes, Smoking Joe Frazier, Michael Spinks, and Marvis Frazier, left to right. Larry Holmes, Smoking Joe Frazier, Michael Spinks, and Marvis Frazier. Okay? Now, boxing in the 1980s was filled with important fights, events, and personalities that shaped the sport. Boxing in the 1980s was shaped by many different situations, such as the continuous corporate battle between the different world sanctioning organizations, the void left by Muhammad Ali as the sports ambassador, and consequent search for a new boxing hero, the continuous presence of Don King as the sport's most famous promoter, the surge of rival promoters as Bob Arum, Woods Lewis, and Murad Muhammad, and major rule changes. In 1986, Mike Tyson emerged as a fresh new face in the heavyweight division, which has seen a decline in champion quality level, particularly on the WBA side after Ali's retirement, and later on after longtime WBC ruler Larry Holmes' prime. In addition, the IBF and WBO came into existence in the 80s. Another important aspect of boxing in the 1980s was the rivalry between 5 world champions. Most people look at the 4 kings, but you got to put Benitez in there too. Another important aspect of boxing in the 1980s was the rivalry between 5 world champions: Wilfred Benitez, Roberto Duran, Marvin Hagler, Thomas Hearns, and Sugar Ray Leonard. Of all the possible matchups between these 5, Benitez-Hagler was the only one that never happened. The circle of fights between these 5 gladiators actually began on November 30th, 1979, when Leonard beat Benitez by knockout in round 15 to win the WBC World Welterweight title. On the same night, Hagler had his draw with Vito Antuofermo in his first bid to become the world middleweight champion. Okay, now let's take a walk through the decade now. 1980s. Let's take a walk through the 1980s. Okay, September 27th, 1980. Marvelous Marvin Hagler becomes world middleweight champion, scoring a technical knockout over Alan Minter on cuts in 3 rounds in London. Then, the 2 boxers had to be protected by police from rioting Minter fans. They had a riot. Minter fans was trying to get both of them. They was trying to get Hagler for beating their man and Minter for losing. Yeah, the police had to get them out of there. Yeah. October 2nd, 1980. Larry Holmes retains his WBC World Heavyweight crown with an 11th round technical knockout over Muhammad Ali after beating Ali merciless in nearly every round. This fight is seen by many as one of the most despicable events in the history of the sport. Ali had been in a hospital for treatment for a good portion of the month before the fight. It has been alleged that Don King made him fight for Ali to pay King the hospital bills King had received from Ali's stay at the hospital. November 25th, 1980, the No Mas fight. Sugar Ray Leonard regains his WBC World Welterweight title with an 8-round knockout of Roberto Duran, who quit inexplicably, leading to many rumors. Yeah, the fight was still close. He had like 7 rounds to go, only in the 8th. And Sugar Ray was either leading by 1 point on one card and 2 on the others, or 2 point on one card, 1 on the other. So Roberto was still very, very good chance of winning the fight, and he quit. Okay, well within the fight, but he was embarrassed because of the antics. Sugar Ray started cheating and jumping around and acting like a fool and stuff, so Roberto quit. But he made a nice comeback and redeemed himself. He won I think he became a 4-time champion. Won like 2 more titles after that. But yeah, that was bad. April 12th, 1981. Larry Holmes defeats Trevor Berbick by unanimous decision to retain the WBC and the ring heavyweight titles. Former undisputed heavyweight champion Joe Louis attended the fight. It was his last public appearance as he died of cardiac arrest just hours after the fight. Yeah, the great Brown Bomber passed away that same night, April 12, 1981. He was at the Larry Holmes Trevor Berbick fight earlier that night. The legendary Brown Bomber. May 23rd, 1981. Wilfred Benitez becomes the first Hispanic and Puerto Rican to be a 3-time world champion, as well as the 5th boxer to do it overall. And the first one to do it since Henry Armstrong 4 decades earlier, when he defeats Maurice Hope by knockout in round 12 to win the WBC's World Junior Middleweight title in Las Vegas. June the 10th, 1981, Alexis Arguello becomes the 6th 3-time world champion in boxing history when he defeats Jim Watt by decision, 15 rounds, to win the WBC World Lightweight title in London. They went over there and beat the Englishman, Jim Watt. Yes, he did. The explosive thin man. A walk through boxing history today. 1981. Now check this out. December 3rd, 1981. Smoking Joe Frazier's last fight. He had a draw after 10 rounds with Floyd Jumbo Cummings in Chicago. And then, the very next week, December 11th, 1981, Muhammad Ali's last fight. He loses a 10-round unanimous decision to future WBC World Heavyweight Champion Trevor Berbick in Nassau, Bahamas. Now that's crazy. The way these two men's careers were intertwined, the 3-fight trilogy they had, they fought their last fights back-to-back weeks. That's crazy. Yep. July 21st, 1982. Salvador Sanchez retains his WBC World Featherweight title with a 15th round knockout over Azuma Nelson in New York City. It would be Sanchez's final fight. 3 weeks later, on August 12th, Sanchez is killed in a car accident in Mexico City. September 21st, 1982. The National Football League Players Association launches a strike against the NFL, wiping out 7 games. CBS Sports adds additional boxing telecasts during the strike. November 9th, 1982. Sugar Ray Leonard announces the second of what would be multiple retirements in Baltimore, Maryland. His first retirement had come after the 1976 Olympic Games. He had about 50 of them. No, I think it was actually 5. But it seemed like he was retiring every other month. back then. November 13th, 1982. Tragedy in the ring. Ray Mancini retains his WBA World Lightweight title by knockout in round 14 in Las Vegas over Duke Koo Kim, Korean fighter, who passes away 5 days later, leading to the instituting of 12 rounds as the mandatory fight distance for championship fights. It was also the last fight to air as part of strike replacement programming on CBS Sports because of the NFL strike, which ended 3 days after this fight. Yeah, boom, boom. Yeah, Duke Koo Kim passed away, and that was what took him from 12 to 15. Took a few years before they had the final 15 round fight, but that's what the catalyst was. That fight right there, boom, boom, on the right, Duke Koo Kim on the left. Mm-hmm. Then they made a movie about that too. Boom Boom later went to Tokyo and met Duke Koo Kim's wife and his son, and they forgave him. You know, they said, "Boom Boom, that could have been you in that hospital." You know, so yeah, it's boxing, and Duke Koo Kim's family understood. November 26, 1982. Larry Holmes retains his WBC World Heavyweight title with a 15-round unanimous decision over Randall Tex Cobb, a fight after which Howard Cosell quits as a boxing commentator, disgusted by what he describes as mismatches. Yeah, Howard said, "I don't want to have nothing else to do with this." Because Larry Holmes beat Tex Cobb mercilessly, but Tex had that iron chin and lasted the whole 15 rounds. Nowadays, it would have been stopped, like the 5th round or something. But back then, you know, referees were allowed a lot more punishment to take place. The Duke Koo Kim fight would have been stopped. He would have never passed away because it would have been stopped 4 or 5 rounds earlier because Boom Boom was landing some haymakers. But Duke Koo Kim was just too tough for his own good. And the referee didn't stop him, and his corner didn't save him from himself. So he ended up in tragedy. January 31st, 1982. In the first world title fight scheduled for 12 rounds instead of 15 in decades, due to the Duke Koo Kim tragedy, Rafael Orono retains his WBC World Junior Bantamweight Championship with a 4-round knockout over Pedro Romero in Caracas, Venezuela. Now, that was the same year, but they still had some more 15-round fights after that. But by the end of the decade, they had stopped. But that was the first one where they went to 12 in decades. Yup, right there. March 1983, the IBF becomes boxing's 3rd major world sanctioning body. International Boxing Federation. 1983 came into existence. June 16th, 1983. On his 32nd birthday, Roberto Duran becomes the 7th fighter in history to be a 3-division world champion, knocking out WBA junior middleweight champion Davey Moore in 8 rounds at New York City. Yeah, Duran was on his way back from the No Mas debacle by then. Yeah, redeeming himself. Then he won another title after that too. I think it was at junior he beat Iran Barkley. We're gonna get to that. Middleweight or junior middleweight. I think Hagler was out of there by then. September 1st, 1983. Tragedy strikes again. Alberto Davila wins the vacant WBC World Bantamweight Championship with a 12-round knockout over Kiko Bajins, who passes away 3 days later from injuries sustained in the fight. Tragedy strikes again just the next year after Duke Koo Kim. Wow. December 11th, 1983. Larry Holmes vacates the WBC World Heavyweight Championship and becomes the first heavyweight champion recognized by the International Boxing Federation, or the IBF. Yup. Larry became the IBF's first heavyweight champion. Then on December 13th, 1983, the IBF held its first world title fight as Marvin Camel becomes world cruiserweight champion for the second time, knocking out Roddy McDonald in 5 rounds for the IBF's vacant title in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. And he had also been the WBC's first cruiserweight champion. The cruiserweight was only like a couple of years old then. Now, Larry Holmes, the IBF just awarded it to some big name fighters like Holmes, a few others, but Marvin, lower level fighters. Marvin wasn't lower level, but lower level than Larry Holmes. He had to fight for the right to be the IBF first champion. And that was their actual first fight for a title. It's cruiserweight 1983. That's Camel on the left. And Roddy McDowell on the right. Camel was actually an American Indian. Yep. May 11th, 1984. Sugar Ray Leonard defeats Kevin Howard by 9th round knockout in his first fight in 2 years. And guess what? After this fight, he would retire again. Thought you had like 80 retirements. Seemed like it. It would seem like he was retiring every 6 months. This was his first fight in 2 years, and right after this fight, he retired again. Come on, Sugar Ray. November 15th, 1984. At New York's Madison Square Garden, an event called Night of Gold, featuring 6 American Olympians who competed in the 1984 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. And all 6 made their pro debut on the same night, Night of Gold. They were Evander Holyfield, Mark Breland, Tyrell Biggs, Virgil Hill, Meldrick Taylor, and Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. And all 6 won their fights. All 6 of them won. Night of Gold at Madison Square Garden. I went backwards. I'm sorry. Okay. There he is. March 6, 1985. Future heavyweight champion Mike Tyson turns pro at 18 years old. He knocked out Puerto Rican Hector Mercedes in the first round to win his first pro fight. I think his first 16 or 17 was knockouts. All was in like 3 rounds or something. That was Iron Mike Tyson then. Yeah, when Tyson was fighting, you have everything ready when that fight started because you get up and go anywhere and come back. You see Don King in the ring and fight me over. Don King and about 1,000 other people. But you could always tell Don. Could be 1 million people in there, but that Don hairdo, you could always tell where Don was at. That's how a Tyson fight was. You have everything ready. Use the bathroom, get your drinks and food and stuff before the first bell. Because you couldn't leave. It was going by so fast. Yep. September 21st, 1985. Michael Spinks makes history by becoming the first boxer to go from current world light heavyweight champion to world heavyweight champion, defeating IBF ruler Larry Holmes by a 15-round controversial unanimous decision in Las Vegas. And the rematch was controversial too. Yeah, both of those fights were very controversial. I think Holmes won both of them. June 17th, 1986. Tim Witherspoon defeats Tony Tubbs by a 15-round decision in Atlanta, Georgia, to win the WBA World Heavyweight title and become only the 3rd boxer after Floyd Patterson and Muhammad Ali to become 2-time World Heavyweight champions. Yeah, Big Tim, Terrible Tim did it. Terrible Tim. Holyfield became the 4th. Yep. March 22nd, 1986. James Shuler dies only 12 days after fighting Thomas Hearns in a motorcycle accident in Pennsylvania. Yep, I remember that. It wasn't nothing from the fight. He had a motorcycle accident. And Hearns went to the funeral and everything. And I think Hearns, they took the title from Shuler and they presented the belt back to Shuler's family at the funeral. Yep, the hitman. Very good gesture. The hitman Hearns. Okay, let's. Is on mic again. November 22nd, 1986. Mike Tyson becomes the youngest world heavyweight champion in history, defeating Trevor Berbick by second round knockout, winning the WBC title in Las Vegas. Now, Floyd Patterson is still the youngest undisputed heavyweight champion at 21, because Mike only won one portion of it at that time. But Mike did become undisputed later in the decade, but he was past 21 then. He became 3-belt undisputed. He had the IBF, WBA, and WBC, but he was older than Floyd Patterson when Floyd Patterson became undisputed. But Mike is the youngest to hold one of the belts at 20. October 29th, 1987. Damn, I just confused myself. but Mike is the youngest to win a heavyweight championship. Thomas Hearns makes history, becoming the first boxer in history to win world titles at 4 different divisions, knocking out Juan Rodon in 4 rounds for the WBC's vacant world middleweight title in Las Vegas. That happened after Sugar Ray and Hagler. And then Sugar Ray had retired and made it vacant again. Hearns won it. First one to win in 4 different divisions, the Hitman. July 29th, 1988. In an extremely controversial fight, Colombia's Thomas Molinarez becomes WBA World Welterweight Champion by knocking out Marlon Starling in 6 rounds in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Now, Starling's camp protested that the knockout punch had landed after the bell sounded to end the round. Therefore, it should not have counted. Now, check this out. After further review, the WBA agreed that the punch did come after the bell, but decided not to withdraw recognition from Molinarez as world champion. What kind of sense does that make? They looked at it and saw the knockout punch came after the bell, but they still recognized him as champion. They should have at least had a do-over or something, right? Why did you even look at it if you was going to still recognize the man as champion? That was crazy. I remember that. You know, Starling's camp protested. The WBA looked at it and was like, yeah, it was after the bell. But they still let the other guy Molinarez keep the belt. Something was definitely wrong with that picture. The least they should have done was made it a no contest and had a do-over, right? A rematch. They say, yeah, he did hit you after the bell. It shouldn't have counted, but we still gonna recognize him as champion, by the way. Why did you even look at it in the first place then? But anyway, August 4th, 1988. The last 15-round fight as Jorge Paez defeats Calvin Grove by majority decision to become the IBF World Featherweight Champion in Mexicali, Mexico. Yep, 1988 was official. It started in 1982 when Boom Boom knocked Dooku Kim out and he passed away. And that's what initiated. In 1988, that was the final 15-round fight. It had no more sense. November 4th, 1988, Thomas the Hitman Hearns defeats James Kitchen by majority decision to win the inaugural, lightly regarded WBO super middleweight title. Hearns was the first WBO champion, but the other 3, IBF, WBA, WBC. As an adult, 16 years later, 2004. Yep. 16 years. The IBF, they got recognized so fast by the WBA and WBC. Like I said earlier, they started giving out titles to recognize high-level people, like, for instance, Larry Holmes. They made him a heavyweight champion. The WBO did not do that. They just came in and started letting people fight for the titles. But Thomas Hearns won it, but they should have handed out to a lot more high-level fighters. They might would have got recognized a little sooner. But it took them 16 years before they became one of the big 4. before it turned from the Big Three into the Big Four. November 7th, 1988. The first fight in many decades involving titles in 2 different categories. And the vacant WBC World Super Middleweight title sees Sugar Ray Leonard become boxing's second 4-division champion after Thomas Hearns. And then he became 5-division champion when he knocked out WBC light heavyweight champion Donnie Lalonde in Las Vegas. Same fight. He got his 4th division title and 5th division title in the same fight. Sugar Ray did. Super middleweight and light heavyweight. Both were on the line in that fight. Wow. Super middleweight was vacant, and the light heavyweight, he took it from Lalonde. Yup. Same fight. Okay. I had ran out of paper in that book. Oh yeah. Here it is. I had to find it. That's where I started up in this book. February 24th, 1989. Yeah, I ran out of paper in the middle of the notes. February, okay, here's Roberto. His other title he won after the No Mas. February 24th, 1989. Roberto Duran makes history by becoming the 3rd fighter to win world titles in 4 different divisions. The first Hispanic to do so, and also the fighter with the longest period between his first and last world championships at that time, 17 years, when he defeated Iran Barkley by split decision to become the WBC World Middleweight Champion in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Yeah, and the first 3 fighters to win titles in 4 weight classes were 3 of the 4 kings, Hearns, Leonard, and Duran. And George Foreman came along and broke that. Roberto had the longest period between winning championships. He won lightweight in 1972, and 17 years later, he won this one, junior middleweight, I believe it was. Middleweight. And Foreman came up in 94 and broke that because Foreman had 20 years, from 74 to 94 in between winning titles. Yeah, Big George. May 17th, 1989. Carlos de Leon becomes the first boxer to win the World Cruiserweight title 4 times and joined the handful of champions who have won world titles in 1 division that many times when he knocked out Sammy Risa in 9 rounds in London, picking up the WBC belt. December 7th, 1989. The decade of the 80s in boxing ends almost exactly where it began, with Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran battling for the 3rd time. Leonard wins the rubber match, retaining his WBC super middleweight title against Duran by 12-round unanimous decision. Yet they fought one of the first fights in 1980 and one of the last fights in 1989, Duran-Leonard. And they began and ended the 4 King series. And Mike Mazik, salute, Mike. We're finishing up our walk through boxing history today. And now we go to the 2000s. We're going to come all the way up to today, 2026. We're going to get it in today, too. 3 o'clock. Yeah, we come to the 2000s now. Okay? Boxing in the 2000s. Let's see. Okay, bear with me for 1 minute, please. I started yesterday in one book. I ran out of paper in that one. Then I started in this other book that didn't have to. Ran out of paper in that one. Now I'm on my 3rd one. I'm mixed up. Okay, about to get it 2000. We're gonna get it together. My bad. I can't find the 2000. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's go. Boxing in the 2000s. We had this sorted out before I started. Right? Okay. But I got it now. Okay, boxing in the 2000s. Let's salute Mike Mazik. How are you today? Oh, wait a minute now. Boxing in the 2000s. Okay, we're gonna go to the fights because I can't find. I've written something up on it, but I can't find it. Wow, that's crazy. 13. Fix up real quick. That's the 2010s right there. That's in this book. Okay. All right, let's just go. And that's great. Wait a minute now. Bear with me for a minute, please. Okay, yeah, here we go. I got it. Sorry about that. Once again, I think 1989. Don't forget it. Okay, let's just go through the timeline for the 2000s. 2000 to 2009 now. There it is right there. I got it. Wow. Wait a minute. We're at the 90s, aren't we? Bear with me, please. We just did Roberto Duran. Yeah, we got to do the 90s first. We're going to go from the 80s to the 2000s. Yeah, boxing in the 1990s. Okay, here we go. I'm ready now. That was crazy. Yeah, we didn't do the 90s, did we? Okay. Let's go. Back to it. Boxing in the 1990s. Now. We might not finish today. That took up too much time. Okay, boxing in the 1990s. This, I don't know who that is. Buster Douglas and, is that Buster Douglas and Holyfield? No. But anyway, boxing in the 1990s. Here we go. There's in the 1980s. The 1990s in boxing's popularity focused on all divisions. When 1980s legends Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, as well as others retired, newer superstars filled the void, like Pernell Whitaker, Julio Cesar Chavez in the early 1990s, Oscar De La Hoya, Felix Trinidad, Roy Jones Jr., and Floyd Mayweather Jr. in the mid to late 1990s. As for the heavyweight division, Mike Tyson's reign ended prematurely with the upset loss to Buster Douglas. Former cruiserweight champion Evander Holyfield took over as the undisputed champion of the division and later built a rivalry against former Olympic silver medalist Riddick Bowe. The later 1990s was dominated by Lennox Lewis, who unified the division in 1999. And the 1990s also saw the emergence of the battles between the British super middleweight fighters, Chris Eubank, Michael Watson, and Nigel Benn. Okay, now let's go to the 90s. Yeah, it is Buster. It is Holyfield. February 11th, 1990. Buster Douglas upsets Mike Tyson by 10th round knockout in Tokyo to become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Douglas's victory was one of the biggest upsets in sports history, as he came into the fight as a 42-1 underdog. 42-1. Buster came in at. October 25th, 1990. Buster Douglas's short reign as champion ends as he loses to Evander Holyfield by third round knockout. Douglas was very noticeably out of shape, despite being in pinnacle shape in the Tyson fight just 8 months earlier. Yeah. November 11th, 1990. Julian Jackson wins by stunning knockout over Harold Graham by a devastating fourth round knockout for the vacated WBC middleweight title. Graham, ahead in the fight, was knocked out by Jackson by a devastating right hand and was out for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, he was out. October 1st, 1993. Lennox Lewis beats Frank Bruno in the 7th round by a technical knockout. Lewis was defending his WBC heavyweight title. It was the first time that two British-born boxers had ever fought for the world heavyweight title. November 6, 1993. Evander Holyfield defeats Riddick Bowe by majority decision in their rematch for the WBA and IBF heavyweight titles. A man parachuted to the corner of the ring during the fight and starts a mini riot, delaying the fight for more than 20 minutes. The fight is later labeled the Fan Man fight. November 5th, 1994. George Foreman, at 45 years old, becomes the oldest heavyweight champion in history, defeating Michael Moorer by knockout in round 10, with Foreman behind on all the scorecards. Foreman also became the overall oldest champion in boxing history, and still is. Okay? Yeah, that's Nigel. I don't know who that is. I give up. February 15th, 1995. Nigel Benn defeats Gerald McClellan by a 10th round TKO. There's Nigel Benn and Gerald McClellan on the knee. February 15th, 1995. Nigel Benn defeats Gerald McClellan by a 10th round TKO for the WBC super middleweight title after being knocked through the ropes in the first round and knocked down again in the second round, 8th round. Then McClellan was counted out on one knee, then lost consciousness in the ring and is transported to the hospital where he falls into a coma and suffers extensive brain damage, losing his eyesight and becomes 80% deaf. Wow. 9 and 80% deaf. August 19th, 1995. Mike Tyson defeats Peter McNeely in his first fight after his release from prison. July 11th, 1996. Andrew Galata gets disqualified during the 7th round of a fight against Riddick Bowe at Madison Square Garden for striking low blows against Bowe. A massive riot ensues, which many people were injured in. September 7th, 1996. Mike Tyson defeats Bruce Seldon in one round for the WBA heavyweight title, unifying it with the WBC heavyweight title he already holds. Tupac Shakur, an American rapper, attended the fight and was shot later that night, dying 6 days later. Yep. Tupac was at, him and Mike Tyson was very good friends. He was at the fight. That was the night when he got killed. Yep. Shot later that night and died days later. December 14th, 1996. Andrew Golota gets disqualified again against Riddick Bowe. Well, you guessed it, no blows in the rematch. Why they call him Andrew Foul Pole Golota. February 7th, 1997. Lennox Lewis regains the now vacant WBC heavyweight title against his only conqueror at that time, Oliver McCall, in a bizarre fight where McCall refuses to fight after the third round and begins to cry in the ring, forcing the referee to stop the fight in the fifth round. McCall wouldn't fight anymore, he just started crying. Why did his corner even send him out there? March 1st, 1997. Fury Leonard returns to the ring after a 6-year layoff, but loses a fifth-round TKO against Hector Camacho and retires for good after the fight. That was one of them. I thought I saw something. Another one of them. He was commentating on the fight where Camacho beat Duran, and Duran arguably won that fight. So Sugar Ray thought he saw something, so he comes out of retirement and challenges Camacho. He gets stopped for the first time in his career. I thought I saw something. June 28th, 1997. Max Melling was the only one that really saw something, way back in 1936 when he beat Joe Louis. June 28th, 1997. Evander Holyfield wins by disqualification over Mike Tyson after Tyson bites Holyfield's ear twice, and the fight became known as the Bite Fight. October 3rd, 1998. Floyd Mayweather Jr., age 21, defeats Gennaro Hernandez to win the lineal and WBC super featherweight titles, becoming the first 1996 U.S. Olympian to win a world title. Yep, Floyd was the first one out of that Olympics to win titles. He tore an Oscar. September 18th, 1999. In what was billed as the fight of the millennium, Felix Trinidad defeats Oscar De La Hoya by a close, controversial majority decision. The fight generated 1.4 million pay-per-view buys, generating a record for a non-heavyweight fight at that time. Yeah, and Oscar took his foot off the gas. Okay, we go to the 2000s, and here's the 2000s right up right here, right where it's supposed to be at. And I'm looking all over the place for it. Right here in order. Okay, 2000. Now the 2000s are remembered as a transitional era in boxing, as the heavyweight division saw the retirement of legends like Lennox Lewis and the rise of the Klitschko brothers. The sports spotlight shifted toward the lower weight classes, where superstars like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather Jr. redefined pound-for-pound greatness. Experts and fans agree that the decade belonged to a small group of elite fighters who dominated multiple weight classes. Manny Pacquiao, named Fighter of the Decade by many outlets. Floyd Mayweather Jr. maintained an undefeated record throughout the decade. Bernard Hopkins achieved historic status as the first undisputed champion of the four-belt era. Joe Kawasaki, the Welsh legend, retired undefeated in 2008. And Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko. Following the retirement of Lennox Lewis in 2003, the brothers began a period of dominance that eventually saw them hold all major heavyweight belts simultaneously. Klitschko's. The 2000s featured some of the most brutal and technically proficient trilogies and rivalries in boxing history. Morales versus Castillo, Gaddy versus Ward, Barrera versus Morales, Pacquiao versus Marquez, and Vasquez versus Marquez. Oscar De La Hoya remained the sport's biggest financial draw for much of the decade. His 2007 super fight against Floyd Mayweather Jr. set a Zen record for pay-per-view buys, 2.4 million, and marked the symbolic passing of the torch from the Golden Boy era to the Money May era. Okay? April 8th, 2000. Uriah Grant knocked out 41-year-old Thomas Hearn in the third round to win the IBO Cruiserweight Championship. Hearns would never be in another title fight. He retired in 2006. After 41 years old and got knocked out, had no business still in the ring, still fought for 6 more years. But Hearn had some, I think he had some kind of tax problem or something. So that's why he was still fighting. Yeah. August 12th, 2000, he had to sell a lot of his trophies and stuff that he got out of boxing too. August 12th, 2000. Evander Holyfield defeats John Ruiz by unanimous decision for the vacant WBA heavyweight title, making Holyfield the only heavyweight in boxing history to win a portion of the heavyweight title 4 times. Yep, Evander, the only one to do that. Ali only did it 3 times. Evander did it 4. March 3rd, 2001. John Ruiz defeats Evander Holyfield by unanimous decision to win the WBA heavyweight championship. Ruiz, an American of Puerto Rican descent, becomes the first Hispanic world heavyweight champion. John Ruiz. Okay, skip this for 1 second. Had to wet my whistle. Ain't nothing like some ice cold H2O with ice floating around in the bottom. November 3rd, 2001. Kostya Tszyu becomes the undisputed champion of the junior welterweight division as he defeats Zab Judah by a dramatic second-round knockout in Las Vegas, Nevada. Judah was later suspended for 6 months and fined by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for attacking referee Jay Nady and hurling his stool toward the center of the ring after the fight was stopped. Remember, that was spaghetti legs fight. I know everybody remember that one. Zab got up, legs off, slippery and wild, and went back down. They're going to get up and attack the referee. September 18th, 2004. Bernard Hopkins added the WBO title to his undisputed middleweight status as he defeats Oscar De La Hoya by a body shot knockout in the 9th round. This is Oscar De La Hoya's only defeat by knockout and the last knockout victory Hopkins achieved. All of B-Hop's wins after this was by decision. And this one also made Hopkins the first undisputed champion in the 4-belt era, right? He was already 3-belt, and that's the year they started recognizing the WBO as one of the big 4. B-Hop had the other 3. Oscar had the WBO, and B-Hop won the fight. It should have been Felix Sturm because they robbed Felix Sturm against Oscar. But, you know, where's the money? B-Hop and Felix Sturm or B-Hop and Oscar? That's boxing, just follow the money. And they made sure Felix Sturm didn't get that fight. Clearly beat Oscar. It wasn't even close. Felix Sturm, Oscar, 2004. But they wanted B-Hop and Oscar. And they got it. Made sure they got it. May 7th, 2005. Diego Corrales defeats Jose Luis Castillo by 10th round knockout for the WBO WBC lightweight title unification. Now, both men were exchanging brutal punishment throughout the fight before a dramatic 10th round in which Corrales scored a TKO after getting knocked down twice. And it won Fight of the Year. Remember, he spit his mouthpiece out twice, got a point deducted, and still got the knockout. A walk through boxing history today. November 9th, 2005. WBC and the ring heavyweight champion Vitaly Klitschko announces his retirement from boxing after snapping his anterior cruciate ligament 9 days before a fight with interim champion Hasim Rahman. Rahman was promoted to the full WBC champion. April 8th, 2006. Floyd Mayweather defeats Zab Judah by unanimous decision to win the IBF welterweight title. A mini riot ensues as Roger Mayweather, Floyd's uncle and trainer, runs into the ring, reacting to a low blow and rabbit punch by Zab. Yeah, remember that? Oh, hell broke loose. Many fines was given out too. May 11th, 2006. Former two-time heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson passes away from complications of Alzheimer's disease and prostate cancer. Floyd was 71 years old. Floyd Patterson. Yep. May 11th, 2006. May 20th, 2006. Marco Antonio Barrera defeats Rocky Suarez by split decision. Juarez was competitive throughout the fight, breaking Barrera's nose in the early rounds. The fight was originally announced as a draw until it was later revealed that there were two scorecards with tabulation errors. Now that's just cheating there. And, you're going to see two scorecards after the fight with tabulation errors. Yeah, that's corruption. That's all that is. Tabulation errors. March 17th, 2007. Juan Manuel Marquez defeats Marco Antonio Barrera by unanimous decision to become the WBC super featherweight champion. In the 7th round, there was controversy as Marquez thoroughly dominated the round, then got knocked down by Barrera. Referee Jay Nady ruled this a slip, then penalized Barrera for hitting while Marquez was on the canvas. Yeah, that just happened. See, Barrera then just hit him while he was down. April 2007. HBO airs De La Hoya Mayweather 24/7 for 3 weeks to hype the highly anticipated matchup between Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather Jr. You're going to the camps, following them around. That was the first one of that. Now ESPN and Showtime had one, but HBO started that 24/7 before the Floyd Oscar matchup. May 5th, 2007. The highly anticipated match between Floyd Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya. Floyd defeats Oscar by split decision, taking the WBC junior middleweight title. The fight is one of the richest in boxing history. May 7th, 2007. Former super featherweight and lightweight champion Diego Corrales dies in a motorcycle accident near his home in Las Vegas. Corrales died on the 2nd anniversary of his thrilling first fight against Jose Luis Castillo, regarded as one of the greatest fights in modern boxing history. Yeah, died on the anniversary of that fight. We just talked about that, remember? June 23rd, 2007. Ricky Hatton defends his ring junior welterweight crown as he defeats Jose Luis Castillo by knockout. Hatton hits him with a perfect left liver punt, putting Castillo on the canvas for the first time in his pro career. Finished it. August 4th, 2007. David Diaz defeats Eric Morales by unanimous decision to win the vacant WBC lightweight title. This was Morales' fourth consecutive loss, and he would not fight again for 3 years. Thought it was time to get up out of there. October 6, 2007. Manny Pacquiao defeats Marco Antonio Barrera by unanimous decision. Barrera would announce his retirement after the fight. November 3rd, 2007. Joe Calzaghe defeats Mikhail Kessler by unanimous decision in a unification fight for the WBA, WBC, WBO, and the ring super middleweight titles. Calzaghe surpasses the 20 defenses made by Bernard Hopkins and Larry Holmes at middleweight and heavyweight respectively. Yeah, and Calzaghe ended up with 21. Yeah, broke B-Hop's record at middleweight. December 16th, 2007. Danny Green defeats Stipe Drews to win the WBA light heavyweight title. The third time's the charm, as this is Green's first successful world title fight after trying to win the WBC super middleweight title 2 times previous. The third time was the charm. June 28th, 2008. Manny Pacquiao defeats David Diaz by 9th round knockout to take the WBC lightweight crown, his 5th world title in 5 divisions. On his way to 8. July 26, 2008. Antonio Margarito knocks out Miguel Cotto in the 11th round to gain the WBA welterweight title. Cotto managed to control the early round, but Margarito came back with relentless pressure, eventually winning one of the great fights of the year. But the hand wrap controversy surrounding Margarito was later to call the victory into question. October 18th, 2008. Bernard Hopkins beats undefeated Kelly Pavlik by unanimous decision. Despite being 17 years older than Pavlik, Hopkins outworked and out-hustled him throughout the fight. December 20th, 2008. Nikolai Valuev defeats Evander Holyfield by controversial majority decision to retain the WBA heavyweight title, preventing 46-year-old Holyfield from breaking George Foreman's record as the oldest heavyweight champion in history. This would be the final world title fight in Holyfield's long career. Still fought on, but last title fight for Evander. January 24th, 2009. Shane Mosley defeats Antonio Margarito to win the WBA welterweight title by 9th round TKO. Controversy erupts before the fight when it was discovered that Margarito had an illegal plaster-like substance in his gloves. Margarito and his trainer had their boxing licenses revoked. January 30th, 2009. Former heavyweight champion, 1959 to 60, Ingemar Johansson passes away from complications of pneumonia and has suffered from Alzheimer's disease also. February 5th, 2009. Ring light heavyweight champion Joe Calzaghe retires unbeaten at 46-0 as the two-weight champion. February 28th, 2009. Juan Manuel Marquez defeats Juan Diaz by 9th round TKO to bag the WBA and WBO lightweight titles. The 14,571 spectators in attendance at the Toyota Center was the largest in Texas boxing history at that time. And this fight was later named Fight of the Year. Fight of the Year. March 21st, 2009. Roy Jones Jr. knocks out Omar Shika in the 5th round to win the vacant North American Boxing Organization light heavyweight title. This was Jones' first knockout win in 6.5 years. And the undercard featured MMA fights. June 20th, 2009. Vladimir Klitschko beat Ruslan Chagayev by RTD in the 9th round. The fight was Klitschko's 7th defense of his IBO and IBF heavyweight title, and his 3rd defense of his WBO heavyweight title. Klitschko also won the vacant Ring Magazine title and lineal titles in the fight. The crowd of 61,000 was the biggest boxing audience in Germany since Max Schmeling knocked out Adolf Hüser in front of 70,000 in Stuttgart, Germany in 1939. July 25th, 2009. Former 2-division champion Vernon Forrest is murdered following a robbery at a gas station in the Atlanta neighborhood of Mechanicsville. Yep, Vernon Forrest was murdered, 2009. November 14th, 2009. Manny Pacquiao defeats Miguel Cotto by a technical knockout with 2 minutes and 5 seconds left in the fight to become the only boxer to win a world title in 7 different weight divisions, adding the WBC welterweight title to his collection. He had 1 more to go after that. November 14th, 2009. Yuri Foreman defeats Daniel Santos by unanimous decision to win the WBA Super Welterweight Championship and becomes the first Israeli boxer to win a world title. December 2nd, 2009. Bernard Hopkins, at nearly 45 years old, beats Enrique Onihar by decision. The 2010s. March 13th, 2010. Manny Pacquiao. Okay, let's take a little. Let's look at a little quick summary of the 2010s real quick. Okay. Yeah. Decade of the 2010s. To 2020. Walk through boxing history, part 2 today. Boxing in the 2010s. Okay. The boxing in the 2010s includes notable events about boxing, which occurred between 2010 and 2019. The decade saw high-intensity action in the welterweight division. The fight between veterans Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao broke pay-per-view records. The broadcast of the fight in the Philippines was watched by nearly half the country's households. Mayweather retired at 50-0, while Pacquiao became the first 8-division champion. The middleweight division saw immense action in the later years of the decade. After a draw in 2017, Canelo Alvarez ended Gennady Golovkin's long reign in 2018. The heavyweight division was dominated by the Klitschko brothers before Vladimir's loss to Tyson Fury in 2015. Other talents that emerged were Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, and undisputed cruiserweight champion Alexander Usyk. Okay, let's look at some action from the 2010s now. March 13th, 2010. Manny Pacquiao defeats Joshua Clottey, controlling the fight from start to finish and winning by unanimous decision. This was the first boxing event held at Cowboy Stadium in Arlington, Texas, drawing more than 41,000 people. First fight at Jerry's World. March 27, 2010. Eric Morales comes out of a nearly 3-year retirement to defeat Jose Alfaro by unanimous decision, winning the WBC International Welterweight title. April 19, 2010. Edwin Valero commits suicide at the age of 28. On April 18th, Valero was detained on suspicion of killing his 24-year-old wife. The following day, he was found dead in his jail cell. A picture of his family in his mouth, having hanged himself using the denim pants he was wearing. Valero, who had 2 occasions where allegations of assault were placed on him in 2009 and 2010, was the subject of the inquiry on his mental health following a motorcycle crash he suffered in 2001. May 13th, 2010. Manny Pacquiao is officially proclaimed Congressman of the Lone District of Sarangani in the Philippines. May 28, 2010, Manny Pacquiao takes his oath of office as a congressman before Supreme Court Associate Justice Antonio T. Carpio in the provincial capital of Sarangani in the municipality of Alabama in the Philippines. October 9th, 2010. Yeah, that's right there. Yeah. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is questioned by police after domestic battery charges filed against him. The next day, September 10th, he is taken into custody and is released on $3,000 bail. November 13th, 2010. Manny Pacquiao defeats Antonio Margarito for the WBC Super Welterweight title, making Pacquiao the first and only boxer to win world titles in 8 different weight classes. And he got his 8th, November 13th, 2010. Pac-Man. December 28th, 2010. Former middleweight contender Bad Benny Briscoe passes away at the age of 67. Bad Benny Briscoe is the only boxer to fight both Carlos Monzon and Marvin Hagler. Only man in the ring with both of those middleweight killers. Carlos Monzon and Marvin Hagler. And there's Benny and Carlos Monzon right there. Benny on the scales. Benny was really the only fighter that Carlos Monzon ever liked. See him play with the scales there. Mm-hmm. February 12, 2011. Arthur Abraham defeats Stepan Bozic by an official second-round technical knockout. The fight was stopped after Bozic punched Abraham's elbow and fractured his hand. February 15, 2011. Manny Pacquiao visited the American capital in Washington, D.C. during a press tour to have meetings with President Barack Obama and Nevada Senator Harry Reid. May 1st, 2011. Former European and Commonwealth champion Henry Cooper passes away at the age of 76. May 7th, 2011. 48-year-old Evander Holyfield knocked out 46-year-old Brian Nielsen in the 10th round. Wow, battle of the geezers. May 8th, 2011. Former world champion Lionel Rhodes dies at the age of 62. May 21st, 2011. Bernard Hopkins defeats John Pascal. Hopkins, at age 46, becomes the oldest man in the history of boxing to win a major world title, supplanting Big George Foreman. who had previously held the distinction at age 45. When B-Hop did it. November 7th, 2011. Heavyweight legend Smoking Joe Frazier passes away at age 67 due to liver cancer. February 18th, 2012. Vitaly Klitschko defeats Derek Chisora by unanimous decision. A post-fight brawl between Chisora and former two-division champion David Haye would see Chisora have his boxing license withdrawn. September 18th, 2012. Vitaly Klitschko defeats Manuel Shaw by fourth-round TKO in what would ultimately be the final fight of Klitschko's career. March 9th, 2013, Bernard Hopkins defeats Tavares Cloud by unanimous decision to win the IBF light heavyweight title, breaking his own record as the oldest fighter to win a major world title. At age 48, December 15th, 2013, remember he broke it again. It ended up being 49. Vitaly Klitschko officially retires from boxing December 15th, 2013. April 19th, 2014, Bernard Hopkins defeats Beirut Shumanov by split decision to unify the WBA and IBF light heavyweight titles. Hopkins becomes the oldest boxer in history to win a title and also to be a unified champion at age 49. 49 for B-Hop. That's the record. Yep. Just Do Boxing is in the building. Salute Just Do. We're finishing up our walk through boxing history today. Just Do coming up in like 15, 20 minutes. Unbalanced. I mean, you're balanced. Balanced. Unbiased boxing talk. Balanced. Unbiased boxing talk at Just Do Boxing. Everybody gets that Just Do. Salute Just Do. Okay. Appreciate you, BBO. Okay, we're going to finish up the 2010s and, 2020. It's only half a decade, so we don't really need to get that in. But let's finish up the 2010s. January 17th, 2015. Deontay Wilder defeats Bermain Stilvern by unanimous decision to win the WBC heavyweight title. The first American heavyweight title holder since Shannon Briggs lost his WBO belt to Sultan Ibrahimov in 2007. Almost 10 years. And there's Deontay. It had been almost 10 years. And we haven't had any since Wilder. So that's one in like 20 years, American heavyweight champion. May 2nd, 2015, the flop of the century. Floyd Mayweather Jr. defeats Manny Pacquiao by unanimous decision in a fight that came nowhere close to the hype, build-up, and promotion that took place leading up to it. Yeah, the flop of the century. But Floyd won it. November 28th, 2000, and they're getting ready to fight again. November 28th, 2015. It'll be the second flop of the century. I'm going to get it, though. I'll pay for it. I'm going to get Floyd and Manny. May 28th, 2015. Vladimir Klitschko is defeated by British boxer Tyson Fury by unanimous decision, ending an almost decade-long reign as a heavyweight champion of the world. Yeah, Vladimir had almost a decade as champion. Fury had to end it. Probably cheated in that one, too. Fury is a known cheater. Probably cheated some kind of way against Vladimir. June 3rd, 2016. The greatest. Muhammad Ali passes away at the age of 74, 2016. December 20th, 2016. In his final pro fight, Bernard Hopkins was knocked out of the ring by Joe Smith Jr., giving Smith an 8th round TKO victory. It was the only stoppage loss of B-Hop's career. Last night. Should have been out of it. He was 50 then, I guess. Yeah, 51 something. August 3rd, 2017. Former reigning heavyweight champion Vladimir Klitschko announces his official retirement from boxing. August 17th, 2020. 2020. Former pound-for-pound #1 and 3-division champion Sugar Shane Mosley announced his retirement after a 24-year career. 2017. Okay, I thought Shane had retired way before that, but no. Started in the 90s. Yeah, Sugar Shane retired in 2017. 24 years in the ring. Wow. August 19th, 2017. Terrence Bud Crawford defeats Julius Ndongo by third-round knockout to become undisputed junior welterweight champion. This was his first undisputed status. His first of 3 divisions in the 4-bout era. Welterweight, junior welterweight, and super middleweight. This was his first of 3 right here. December 1st, 2018. The highly anticipated matchup between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder ends in a draw. March 16th, 2019. I thought I saw something. Welterweight champion Earl Spence defeats lightweight champion Mikey Garcia by 12-0. Unanimous decision. I thought I saw something. July 20th, 2019. Manny Pacquiao beats Keith Thurman by split decision at the MGM Grand Garden Arena to win the WBA welterweight title, becoming the oldest welterweight champion in boxing history at the age of 40. Yep, 40 years old. Had it been for that first round knockdown, Keith would have had that. I think it was a split decision, right? Yeah, that first round knockdown did Keith in. Oh, damn. 2020s. Well, let's start it. I ain't gonna do the little read up. We ain't got time. November 28th, 2020. Boxing legends Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. for the 8-round exhibition ending in a draw. You know what? I got Bud and Canelo. That didn't happen until 2025. I don't know. August 19th, 2021. John Raul Casemiro defeats Guillermo Rigondeaux by split decision to retain the WBO bantamweight title. Both fighters set a CompuBox record by landing, get this, CompuBox record, landing only a combined 91 punches the entire fight, the lowest ever recorded for a 12-round fight. Between them, they only landed 91 punches. Between them. Damn, what was they doing in there, man? Wow, that's both of them. 7 punches around between 2 fighters for the entire fight, man. 7 punches around. That's ridiculous. Shameful, man. September 25th, 2021. Right, yeah. September 25th, 2021. Alexander Usyk defeats Anthony Joshua by unanimous decision to win the WBA, IBF, and WBO heavyweight titles, becoming only the 3rd man to win world titles at both cruiserweight and heavyweight after Evander Holyfield and David Haye. Yeah, we're going to get it in because we're almost there. November 6, 2021. Canelo Alvarez defeats Caleb Plant by 11th round TKO to become the first ever undisputed super middleweight champion. April 30th, 2022. Katie Taylor defeats Amanda Serrano by split decision to retain the undisputed lightweight title. This was the first female fight to ever headline a card at Madison Square Garden. July 29th, 2023. In one of the most anticipated fights of the year, Terrence Crawford puts on a masterclass against Earl Spence Jr., stopping him in the 9th round to become the undisputed champion at welterweight, conquering his 2nd division in the 4-belt era. Good. May 18th, 2024. Alexander Usyk defeats Tyson Fury by split decision to become the first undisputed heavyweight champion since Lennox Lewis in 1999 and the first of the four-belt era. I see the end. I see the end. June 1st, 2024. Boxers from Queensbury Promotions and Matchroom went head-to-head in a 5-versus-5 card. Queensbury completed a clean sweep with all 5 of their fighters winning every fight. Willie Hutchins defeated Craig Richards by unanimous decision. Nick Ball defeated Raymond Ford by split decision to win the WBA featherweight title. Hamza Shiraz defeated Austin Ammo Williams by 11th round TKO. Daniel Dubois secures an upset 8th round TKO against Philip Hergovic to win the IBF interim heavyweight title. And Zilly Zhang stops Deontay Wilder by 5th round KO. Remember, Wilder did a 360 or whatever he was doing. I don't know what Wilder was doing. Remember, he turned like he was going to say something to his corner and turned around and Zhang clocked. February 2nd, 2025. Clarissa Shields becomes the first undisputed 3-weight world champion in the 4-belt era by defeating Danielle Perkins by UD. And finally, September 13th, 2025. Y'all know what happened on that day. This right here is what happened. Terence Crawford moved from 147 to 168 with one fight at 154 and defeats Canelo Alvarez by unanimous decision to win the undisputed super middleweight championship. Crawford becomes just the second fighter to be an undisputed champion in 3 weight classes in the 4-belt era after Clarissa Shields. And there you have it. Man, I had a nice read up for the 2020s. I can do that. I skipped it, but I'm gonna do that now. It was nice. Okay. My write up for the 2020s. This was nice. Where is it? Okay, there we go. The 2020s have been a transformative era for boxing, characterized by the rise of undisputed champions, the massive commercial influence of Saudi Arabia, and the explosive growth of influencer crossover boxing. Some of the fighters that have achieved undisputed status in this decade include Alexander Usyk, Terence Crawford, Naoya Inoue, Canelo Alvarez, Arturo Beterbiev, Dimitri Bivol, Clarissa Shields, Chantel Cameron, and Katie Taylor. This decade has seen a surge in undisputed female champions, and women's boxing currently is as popular as it's ever been at any point. Social media personalities have fundamentally changed the sport's business model, bringing in younger demographics. Jake Paul transformed from a YouTuber into a major professional draw, headlining massive events against retired legends like Mike Tyson and UFC stars like Nate Diaz. Jake Paul has also played a huge role in making women's boxing as popular as it has become today. Misfit Boxing, co-founded by YouTuber KSI, this promotion secured a major broadcast deal with DAZN to air crossover events globally. Traditional champions like Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua have participated in crossover fights against MMA stars like Francis Ngannou, and Joshua also competed against Paul. Saudi Arabia has emerged as the sport's new financial center. Through the Riyadh Season Initiative, the kingdom has funded super fights that previously struggled to materialize due to promotional politics. Major events like Day of Reckoning and Ring of Fire have moved the sport's gravity away from traditional hubs like Las Vegas. Okay, now there you have it. Walk through boxing history today. Appreciate everybody that stopped by. Just Do Boxing, Mike Mazik, BBO Sports TV, Mike Real Miscast. Don't forget tonight, BBO Sports TV got Stitch Duran and Ishay Smith, 8 o'clock. You find Arnie at 9. But now, just do boxing in like 5 minutes. Coming up. Appreciate everybody. That was a timeline and a walk through boxing history. We came all the way from the 1900s to today, 2026. Well, 2025, really. We didn't really do anything in 2020. Well, 2026 just started, so we're not worrying about that. Look at this picture here. This was the thumbnail, Hagler and Duran. Now look at the fight of the day. Same pose, two different fighters. This was Roy Jones, and look at that. Look at Kawasaki and Hagler, exact same pose. Roy Jones and Duran, exactly the same. Look at that. That's crazy, ain't it? Hagler and Duran, look at that. And look at Roy Jones and Kawasaki. Look at that. Identical. The hand positioning, everything is exactly the same. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? Well, it's not crazy because it's boxing and these fighters, that's what they train to do. But that's just uncanny. Roy Jones and Kawasaki, Duran and Hagler. The same pose. One more time. Roy Jones, Joe Kawasaki. Look at the positioning of the feet, hands, everything. Now look at Hagler and Duran. Wow, that's crazy. I noticed that earlier. I was like, man, that's really something. Okay. But yeah, Just Do Boxing is up next. This is Cass Sports, the Box Story. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Box Story bringing you all that boxing history. Everybody have a great afternoon. Catch up with y'all tomorrow. Appreciate y'all 1,000,000%.